Thank you for tuning in to another T13 Media production. And if you're wondering how else you can support all of us and show your T13 spirit, we have merch. So you can get your very own PrimeTime Travvy T shirt, Bad Guy Has Spoken hoodie, Hi-Fi mic mug, Book It bandana, or even a That's a Banger pillowcase. You can find it all at www.t13media.com/store. You are now listening to a T13 Media production. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Primetime with Travvy T. I am your host, Travvy T, and then today I am joined by a very special guest. This is a published poet and the host of Puzzled As I Am, Jigyasa.
Yes. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice. Hopefully all the listeners are enjoying having you here. So can you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself? Anything you think is interesting?
About me, I don't think anyone would find something about a 16-year-old interesting. But I dance, I sing, I draw, and I write. I do poetry. And out of all four of these, let me tell you, I'm just good at poetry. But, well, that's what I'm good at. But I enjoy doing poetry. And yes, I have a book coming out of my own, a self-published book. It's a poetry compilation.
Okay. What's the name of your book, by the way?
It's called A Little Bit of a Lot.
Oh, I like that. Okay. So let's just talk about poetry for a minute. What really got you into poetry?
It's actually a funny story. I was like in class 3, grade 3rd, and I used to write, rhymes like honey, money, toy, boy, and like, such rhyming words. And that didn't make any sense at all. And it was all like just rhymes. And when I showed it to a teacher, I was very excited, and she was like, "This is just rhyme, and I don't think you can ever do poetry." So I stopped writing for some time, and then my dad asked me that why have you not written anything in a while? And then I told him the incident, and he was like, "It's okay. Let people say whatever they want to. Don't stop doing what you like to." So yes, here I am now. I just wrote and wrote and wrote, and ta-da.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. A lot of people have that similar story of like someone telling them they couldn't do something, and then them just turning around and like doing it in spite of what they said. I really like that. It's like an uphill battle kind of narrative. So your book is called A Little About a Lot. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a lot.
A little bit of a lot. I'm sorry. So what made you what inspired that name?
Like, every time I see around, I look around, it's like people are worried about the big problems in their life, and they're like a lot going on. And out of that lot, everyone focuses on the big problems, and like people don't try to find happiness in the small things, in every little thing which makes one happy. And people just ignore it, and they focus on the bad problems, the big problems of their life, which shouldn't be the case. So it's like a little bit of a lot. Like, there's a lot going on, I know, but I would like to share just a little bit of it with you all.
Okay, I really like that. So when we started the show, I asked you to say something like to tell me anything interesting about yourself, and you said that you're not sure people would find a 16-year-old interesting. I have to disagree with you. You're wise beyond your years. Like from listening to Puzzled and talking to you now, you've got like a very big perspective, and like your outlook on just the world in general is so much beyond a 16-year-old. At least I'm not going to say I don't know because I don't have like spoiler alert for everybody in the comments. You're actually from India, correct? Like you live in
Yes, I
India.
am.
I don't know anybody else from India, so I can't say that. But as far as 16-year-olds I know here in America, you are definitely a much broader thinker. You have good deductive reasoning skills where you're like I listened to the superstitions episode, and
Ah,
I'm not gonna lie, like it was totally not what I expected. So when I asked, like, for the listeners that aren't aware of how this process works, I usually will message a guest and I'll say, hey, what do you want to talk about? Besides just whatever you're promoting, what would you like to talk about? Because that way, whatever works. And some of the things she threw out was like the power of imagination, perspective, and like, so I was thinking this is gonna be like a real big idea show where like nothing's really like grasped, but it's more so like ideas. And I'm like, that's really cool. And I was excited for that. But then after listening to Puzzled, I realized that not only is it going to be big ideas, it's like you trying to break those big ideas down and with reason and logic. And because I think one of the lines, like I'm paraphrasing here, but you said something about like, a lot of people believe in superstitions, but I don't. I think they're stupid.
mhm.
So let's see if we can find science that like matches them. And that made me so much more excited to talk to you. And I was already really excited. So tell me, like, have you always been that way? Have you always looked at stuff like with logic and like trying to figure stuff out?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. That was like so good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And secondly, I'm not sure. I guess it's the surroundings and like the people that surround me that made me this way. It's like I've always had a supportive family, supportive friends, supportive teachers, and everyone supported me. Like they were like, do whatever you want to do. And of course, there was this pressure, like, study well and get good marks. And there was a pressure in every field of life. But there was also this freedom they gave me, that do whatever you wish to, like a podcast of my own. I never thought I would have one. And during this quarantine, I was so bored and I was like, okay, just let's do it. And I was like, I'm so annoyed by my own voice. Why should I be annoyed all on my own, like alone? I should just annoy everyone else. And yes, here I am. It's like whatever I am right now, and like the way I am molded, the way I am, like my perspective is and everything. It's the people who surround me, and like my friends, my family, my teachers, as I said before. It's them. Yes, it's all them.
I like that. You almost was like accepting an award just now. That's that you like thanked everyone else instead of yourself. I like it. Um, so you were talking about quarantine. Let's just get into it just a little bit because it is a big part of the world right
Sure.
now.
Hmm.
How is COVID-19 over there? How is the coronavirus and everything happening? Like, you guys doing
Well,
okay?
yes, we are doing fine, but right now, like as we can see, as I've seen in the news and everything, the cases have been increasing. But we, at our own level, the best we can do is, as citizens and as humans, what we are doing is we're trying to not step out much and take care of the sanitization and everything. And
I think we got a technical difficulties, guys. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties. That's what happens when we go live. Anything can happen, and it probably will. Hey, there she is. Hey, we're back.
Hi. Ah,
So-
sorry, I don't
No,
know what happened.
you're totally fine. We're just going to jump right back into it. So, can you go ahead and start talking about? You said we were talking about COVID-19.
Oh, yes. Well,
So, how it's
oh,
going with you guys? What you guys are doing? You said what we can do as citizens, as humans, and then you started to cut out.
yes, what we can do is like on the best of ourselves, we can maintain social distancing and like follow all the guidelines provided by the doctors and like, the
Hmm.
government and everything. That's the best
Yeah,
we can do.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. Um,
mhm,
so just to stay on the topic of like your homeland and everything like that, like India and all that.
mhm,
What's it
mhm.
like growing up in India? What is like? I
Well,
know it's just normal
India.
to you, but
Yes. Well, growing up in India, it's pretty amazing, I must say. Like,
Hmm,
sometimes I feel like I'm lucky because India is a land of tradition and culture, and like the festivals and everything here, the diversity, it's all good. Although I did used to complain about the education system of India, but
yeah,
and now the government has amended it, and like we are trying to adopt a new education system, and like it's getting good. We're progressing, and like being a citizen and like being growing up here, I love this place, I must say. I love my country. uh,
okay,
I love everything about it.
yeah. So is English your first language?
No, it's not. My first language
Okay,
is Hindi.
Hindi. Okay, that's what I thought. But you speak so well and so fluently, and like
Oh, thank you.
clearly that I was contemplating if I was wrong or not. So okay, so you are. So that's another thing that makes you interesting, right there. You're
Thank you.
bilingual, like um, having. I can't speak two languages. I can barely. I can speak a little bit of Spanish, a little
Oh,
bit.
Spanish.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Spanish is definitely the second biggest language in America for sure.
Well, there is this thing, India does not have one language, like one
Yeah.
particular national language. We have so many languages, like, different states, people speak different languages. We have Tamil, Punjabi, and like many more languages.
Yeah.
I can't recall all of them because there's so many, but
Yeah.
it's great.
We don't have a national language, but I think it's like 80% of Americans speak English. So it's like
Hmm.
that's our main one.
Same
Um,
here, like Hindi.
yeah, right, right. So what made you want to like have you just like was it something your parents did making you learn English, or did you like want to learn English to like better market yourself as a poet or a podcaster or anything? Like what made you decide you were going to learn English?
Well, India is a land where there are a lot of tourists, like,
Hmm.
tourists visit this place and everything. And here, English is a part of our school curriculum because we study maths in English, we study science in English, we study history, geography, and like almost every subject in English. And we also study them in Hindi, but it's like our choice what we choose to use. Like we can study them in Hindi or English or maybe some other language like Punjabi, Tamil, whatever we wish to.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're in, are you in grade 11 or 12?
11, according
Okay.
to our system, 11.
Okay. So
Mhm.
how many years do you have left? I guess is my question. You have 2 years left after this?
One more year, one more
One
year.
more year.
Well,
Okay. Okay. So you guys don't have
yes.
kindergarten, right? That's what it is. You start in
Uh,
grade one.
yes, you can say like we do have kindergarten, and
Okay.
it's like, and then we go to class 1 and 2, and then like till class 12 we have it. So
Okay.
yes, after that college and everything else,
No, that
courses,
makes sense.
everything.
That's the same as
Uh-huh.
here. I don't know why I lost my mind. I'm over here thinking something else. I'm thinking because
It's
there's
all right.
13 grades total. That if you're in grade 11, that you're what we would call a sophomore,
Uh-huh.
but you're
Oh
actually a
yes.
junior. What we call a junior. So,
Yes,
um,
actually, it's a bit confusing because, like, I've watched some Hollywood movies, and it's always confusing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Well, that's a hard question. I'm not much of a movie buff,
Me
but
either.
like, like out of the Bollywood movies I've watched, I would suggest. This is a hard question. I actually don't know that. Like, it's
Okay.
like keeps changing.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's
Yeah. I
it's
mean, you're a
not
part of
like
your life that's like a very evolving. Everything's evolving around you
yes,
very
like
rapidly. So, I get it.
hmm it's
Um,
like when
good.
someone asks, "What is your favorite movie?" or like, "What is your favorite song?" and I'm like, I get anxious. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Right. Right. Um, that's funny. Do you have any not maybe not your favorite, but do you have any like musicians or anything that you listen to regularly?
I do. I
Okay.
do. Like Hindi songs, I listen to Hindi classical music and it's beautiful. Mohammed Rafi, and I just cannot stop listening to those songs. Plus, the English musicians, I love to listen to Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Billie Eilish, and like many
Okay.
more.
Yeah, I love all those people. Those are some of my favorite artists too. I like them.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I'm really into pop music. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you put that like one of the topics you wanted to talk about was reading. So I don't know how to segue into this. So, but just what did you want to talk about?
Reading. Well, I would like to share an incident. Like during this quarantine period
Yeah.
only, I was like, I now have time, so let's use it. So I started reading, and I actually prefer paperback books, but due to this all the scenario and everything, I had to set with Kindle. So I just started reading, and uh, I suddenly realized something. Like sometimes when we read we imagine the character in our mind. And I was associating the character to someone in real life, in my real life, like a friend of mine. And I was like, okay, that description is just like one of my best friend. And I was like, wow. So it makes me think that our imagination and reading, they go together. While reading, we not only read it for our own personal satisfaction and everything, our brain gets a wider view to, imagine stuff. And like we try to associate it with real life and everything, which I find absolutely amazing. And I would love to know more about brain in the future, and I'll definitely do that. I'll study the brain and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my one of my favorite things about you, from what I do know about you, is that when you, from what I can see, when you have a question, like you're presented with a hurdle or a roadblock in your like thought process or like whatever you're looking at, you don't just like give up. You just decide to study it to figure it out. Because there's a lot of research in your show. Um, so yeah, I like that. That's a good point of view.
Well,
Good.
Well, the actual motive behind why I started the podcast was not only to, because I was bored, but also what I saw was that, I actually have two siblings. They
Hmm.
are twins, so they're like 5 years younger than me, and I saw that them and their friends, they are actually not as curious as I and my friends used to be in the childhood. like during the childhood, and like
Yeah.
they don't really question stuff. They've now got everything made. I might be talking like some senior person right now, but it is like that. Like I've seen them. They have lost their, like, not lost, but they're ignoring their ability to question stuff. They're like, they're believing what they're told, and which should not be the case. Like, when you're told something, you should not just believe it. You should question it, and you should like ask yourself and try to reflect upon it. Like, is it true? What am I believing? Like, I listened to this, but do I think it is true? And if I don't, then what could be the alternate meaning or the reason behind it? So that's what I wish to do, make people curious.
Okay. Hey, I love it. What do you want to do like with your life? What's your plan right now? Because I'm assuming you're gonna go to like university and like
Well, that's a pretty hard question. My family always keeps asking me the same thing. They're like, what do you want to do with your life? And my
yeah,
siblings are like, what do you want to be? And what I always answer is a good human being, because I don't know what I want to do with my life, and that's kind of a coping mechanism. Like a good human being, it covers up everything. I don't have to
yeah,
answer your question now. Bye. It's like that.
yeah. No,
Oh,
that's great. You are like such like I keep complimenting you, and that's not what I'm trying to do, but like I'm just amazed at how like your grasp on the world already. Like you're much more mature than a normal 16-year-old. So
thank you
like
so
like even
much.
even that response that, and also you're kind of like self-depreciating, which like makes me like wonder, meaning like you like to ease the room and to like make like comedy and like be funny. Your initial thought is to like not attack yourself, but like knock yourself down a little bit, which is great. Like it happens. That's one of the best ways to be funny, because you're being funny in a way that will always work, because teasing and picking on someone will always get a reaction, but you're doing it without a victim, because you're making yourself the victim of the teasing and picking on. But even with you teasing yourself just now with like how that's like, you're like, oh, that's just like a cop out answer, like saying I'm going to be a good human, but like
Yes.
that's such a good answer. Like it's already like it's so much more thoughtful than most people. Like most people are like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor because they make a lot of money, or I'm going to be a dentist, like whatever, like architect. But like you're like, I respect that your answer was I don't know, but I know I want to be a kind human.
Well, kindness is something which everyone should have, according to me, because we're given the life which we're supposed to have. And like, I specifically do not believe in miracles and destiny and fate. I somehow do. They can be true, they can be not true. I'm not sure. But what I believe is, like, everything has a purpose. So we should just be kind, because what's there's nothing wrong in being kind, and you're not hurting anyone else, and being kind is so kind.
Yeah, right. Definitely. So let's circle back to that last subject that you just kind of
Sure.
like glanced over there, with like miracles and fate and destiny and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I Not to get too deep into your own personal beliefs, because I don't want to offend you or get you like upset or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but those are things that are very incorporated with religion,
uh
um, with like
Not
miracles
really.
and okay,
Not really, like, not with religion. They're like perspective and belief. Like, if you believe in them, if you think that something happened in your life that makes you believe in them, then it's all right, you believe in them. Religion is something very different from
okay,
these topics. I do not associate with it with them personally. If someone else does, I totally respect it.
okay, okay,
Yes.
because like a lot of things with um Christianity is a thought that like their God is um has a plan for them from before they're born. Like he knows their whole story. Like that's what I meant by that destiny, and like um
Mm-hmm.
they believe in miracles a lot of the times, because when they
Oh.
I the way I look at religion is a generally is a way, like a coping mechanism. There's helps you get through hard times, gives you a reason for things you can't explain, helps you get through just different things. But like I said, not to get too deep into that, but you said something on the Miracles episode of your show where
Mhm.
you said that I'm trying to think exactly how you worded it, but basically that miracles don't exist unless you believe in them, and you question that immediately with, how can I believe in them if they don't exist?
Well, yes. Actually, what I meant was miracles. Like, it's a word which can have millions of meanings to millions of peoples. Every
Mm-hmm.
person can perceive it in a different way, in a specific way. For someone, miracles can mean something very specific, like, uh, like them getting a job or like them getting a scholarship. It could be a miracle for them, which is just an achievement which they got from their own hard work, hardship.
Mm-hmm.
But they want to consider it as a miracle. I have no problem with it. I respect it, and it's good if they want to consider it as a miracle. But for me, what miracle is, what science says. Like, I'm not much of a scientific person. I'm kind of spiritual too, but it's like science says miracles are something which science cannot explain, and something which is totally and highly unexpected, which cannot be explained by any natural cause or by God. So it's like, I don't think something like that has happened to me yet. So I have no right to comment on others' beliefs, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't believe in them personally. Like, yes, Earth is a miracle. Everything is a miracle. But still, everything is not a miracle because that can be explained by science. That's what I meant.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. So when I think of miracles, I think of because I can't say if I believe in miracles or not. I don't know. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I believe in them or not. Um, as I'm not that. I'm much more on the logical, scientific side of things than the spiritual side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I think of it, like when I think of miracles, I think of stuff like, oh, he has a 1 in a million chance of surviving the surgery. He goes through with it and survives. But that's still explained. It's not necessarily a miracle as much as it is just like you got
Uh-huh.
lucky. Like not even we want to say lucky. Like you just got like you were in the right place, right time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes, you can say right place, right time. That's what it
yeah.
is. And it's like, whatever. Okay, so I have this bad habit of forgetting what I'm about to say, so please
Okay.
don't mind.
No, you're fine.
Okay. So anyway, I also like mentioned this in one of my like the same episode you were talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the very end, I said this, that like like just now you just said it, like you don't know if you believe in miracles or you don't. Similar is the case with me. I'm still not sure if I believe in them, but like I've kept my conscience open and like everything open. Like if there's something that wants to come my way and teach me and change my perspective, then why not? I'm happily I'll happily take it my way and like experience it to believe in it. But it's like, if I haven't seen it and if I haven't experienced it, it's hard for me to trust it, believe it.
Yeah.
That's what the
Same.
case is with me. Yes.
Definitely, definitely. I 100% can understand that. And give me 1 second, guys, because we're gonna run into just an ad real quick. Um, so as we've been talking about, everybody's on quarantine right now. We're all staying at home. A lot of us are working from home. We're playing a lot more video games, stuff like that. And I'm sure everybody is just like me, and you're tired of using the chairs from your kitchen table when you're trying to game or work. So that's why I went to triumphchairs.com and I scooped me up one of their luxurious, comfortable gaming chairs. And right now you can get 10% off one of these Cadillac chairs by using the promo code T13 at checkout. That is www.triumphchairs.com. And then use the promo code T13, T, the number one, and then the letter three, or the letter three, the word three at checkout. Tell them Travvy sent you. So, how is that everything going for you so far with this show, Jigyasa? You
Well,
having fun? Are you like you still nervous a little bit?
no, I'm not nervous now.
Okay,
Actually enjoying it. Like, you're really fun to talk to, I must say.
okay. I'm glad to hear it. So is there anything that you want to talk about? Like, I don't want to have to stick to the list. If there's anything you feel like you want to discuss, or you have any questions for me or anything, like this can go both ways.
Um, well, actually, I would like to talk about something. It's
Okay.
like, uh, it's the same thing I mentioned before,
Hmm.
curiosity. Actually, the fun thing is my name, Jigyasa. It means curiosity. It's like in Hindi, it's Jigyasa, but it means curiosity.
That's awesome. That is poetic.
So that's what like uh, it's like my dad says that just because it's like I've got the right name, he feels because I'm always curious, and he's like, okay, we have given you the very right name, and I'm like, okay. So what I want to talk about is curiosity. I
Okay.
feel that, it's always important to be curious. And if you're not curious, your life is bland and like it's just not very interesting. To make it interesting for your own self, not for everyone else, I guess you should be curious. And there is this thing like I don't know if it happens in your country, but I've seen it here like in classrooms whenever a teacher is teaching, and like there's a very silly question that comes to your mind. Sometimes my friends or even I did so once. Like I didn't ask a question because I thought it was pretty stupid and silly, and like the class would judge me and the class would laugh at me,
Yeah.
and then like 2 3 days I just kept thinking about the question, and I was like, okay, I'll ask this question in the class. And then when I asked the question, actually my teacher was like, wow, that's a smart question. And
Yeah.
and I was like, well, it is very necessary. Even if you think the question is like not very smart and you feel it's silly or stupid or like it doesn't make any sense, always put up your queries and always ask whatever you have in mind, speak your mind out, and always ask and look for answers. And you won't get anything until you're looking for it. So it's always necessary to look for it. Be curious. That's what I want to tell everyone and share.
Absolutely. I agree. Like we should be curious. We should be questioning everything.
Uh-huh.
And that's and by questioning everything, I don't think either one of us are trying to say like because I some in in America at
Mhm.
least, the phrase question everything is given almost a negative connotation because it comes with like the conspiracy theories. Don't believe what they're telling you. Don't do this. Don't do. And I don't think that's what we're saying. I think more so we're saying like believe what you're hearing, but confirm it's true through your
Yes.
own personal research and your own personal studies and whatnot.
Yes. Well, I'm currently educating myself on conspiracy theories, and I'm like studying about the topics, and just as an extra part of my studies and everything. And I'm trying to read books, and I'm educating myself on politics and everything, because it's like there's so much knowledge outside which I can gain, but it's like I have so much less time and like and energy to do it. Honestly, I'm very lazy.
I get you. I understand. I am too. So we actually have a question from the chat. I'm gonna put it on the screen now.
Sure.
So it says, it's from Keith the Chief. Who are some poets that have inspired you to write?
Well, I would like to tell some Hindi poets like,
Yeah.
uh, you know, there is this one poet whose poem I read like a few days back, and I was like so inspired. I'm sorry, I can't recall the name right now, but
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, I wrote it in my diary, and I was like, now I'll be reading more of his work and getting to know otherwise some English poets like Adrian Rich, Walt Whitman, and Robert Frost. How can I forget him? He's amazing. His poetry, like I was introduced to his poetry through school. Like in school class 9 we had his poem Fire and Ice and the Dust of Snow, and I read it, and here we go. I love his poetry, I love his work.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so there you go, Chief. We've got so I just have noticed something throughout your throughout this conversation so far, you lean heavily towards your father. Would you say your father is like a personal hero for you, or a personal leader and mentor?
Yes, well, my dad, he has always been supporting me, and I cannot thank him enough ever. And he's like always funny, and
Yeah.
I always wanted to be as funny as him, and that's what I always keep trying to do. And he's really supportive. He's my mentor, and I'm so glad to have him. And not only him, but also my mom. She does so much for me too. I'm really happy to be in this family. I love everyone so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk to me about your book. Tell me a little bit about what how long you've been working on it and so on and so forth.
Well, it's a compilation of all my poems since I don't know, like sixth grade or something.
Okay, wow.
Like whatever I've written, I've put it in the book. And also, along with my poems, what I've done is I've put a little, like, what I feel is like it's very important to communicate with people, the one who are reading or listening or whatever it is, whatever way they're connecting to you. It's always important to communicate. And that is what I wanted to do through my book. Like, so just reading poetry can get a bit boring, so I added this little fun element here. Like before every poem, I try to talk about what it is, and like try to make a joke of it, or like just tell why did I write this poem. Like of course you cannot tell the actual meaning of poetry, and like why does it have like why did I write it, because it's for the people to imagine and interpret it in their own way. But what I wish is to people to know that yes, I would love if they read my poetry, and if they interpret it the way they want it, and like give them some I don't know, like way to understand it, like direct them to a particular interpretation.
Yeah, I like that. That's one of the best things about poems too, is that it's open to interpretation. To what you meant when you wrote it might not be what it means to me when I read it.
Exactly, exactly, and that's so beautiful. Honestly, it's like whenever I read poems, it's like the meme. You see, like the poem is about blue curtains, and what the English teacher tells us is the poet means the peace and calm and everything. And I'm like, well, actually, it depends. It's like my English teacher. He used to teach me. He used to teach me last year, and he was like, we were talking about this very same thing, about this meme, this specific meme about how English teachers exaggerate the meaning, is what was directed by the meme. And I was like, it's not actually like that. For people who are into poetry and who actually try to understand it, it's like there's this deep beautiful meaning always hidden. And like I came up with this very genius uh, phrase, according to me. Actually, I'm not sure if anyone else would find it genius, but
Okay.
it's like read like a writer and write like a reader, and I find it so beautiful. I don't know why. It's like one should read like how a writer writes, like think what the writer would be thinking of while writing it, and write like what the reader would interpret it as. It would be so beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. Um, so let's talk about your podcast. We've really not like we've talked like about episodes, but we didn't talk about like what inspired. Was it boredom? It's what I'm getting from it. Is you decided to do the podcast out of boredom and then wanting to ignite curiosity in others. Is that on the right track?
Ah, yes, those
Okay.
two are the reasons. And third, what I created to make people laugh was,
Yeah.
which is also true, that I actually don't really like my voice. I didn't really like, I never really used to like it. I still don't like it as much, but I was like, okay, why should I be annoyed all on my own? Let's annoy others too. And boom.
That's hilarious. You're so funny. There's a that's a common thing though. Like not liking your voice. A lot of people don't like to hear their voice played back. Um, but I will
Uh-huh.
say I've made music since 2012. I've been podcasting for 2.5 years, I think.
Oh wow, that's great.
So you get used to it. I'm telling you. I used to hate my voice too. And you also learn how to control your voice a little bit better.
Oh yes, well, I always
So
wanted to be a voice mimicry artist, but
yeah. Yeah. I get it.
I don't think I can ever do that. But
Is I know you said you didn't really have an idea of what you want to do for when you grow up or when you
mhm.
finish school. Um, are you like because you have a certain like charisma and like aura to yourself that almost lends itself into an entertainment slash um like almost public speaker role. Is that something you're
Well,
interested in?
yes, I am. I would be shy in front of people at times, but it's like when I'm personally getting to know them and like making friends and everything. But if there's like, some strange crowd and I don't know the people and I have to perform or speak in front of them, I would do that. I love to do it. I love to like public speaking. That's something I count as my good side, like my
Yeah, your strength.
abilities. Yes,
Yeah.
my strength. So,
Um, that's awesome. That's a noble path to go on. I think that a lot of people get stuck with the this in my opinion, they get stuck with the I have to be a doctor, I have to be an architect, I have to be a lawyer, I have to be a scientist,
mhm.
whatever, because that's a good job. And
Yes,
in my estimation, a good job is whatever makes you happy. Um,
yes, exactly.
so if you're happy being a public speaker, or be happy being a comedian or a poet or a podcaster or a clown, like whatever you're happy doing, if that's what you want to be, go be that.
Yes,
Someone's got to do it.
yes,
That's the
exactly.
thing.
Like, do whatever that makes you feel better. It's like in the very starting I told you, I like to dance and sing and write and draw, but the only thing I'm good at is writing, is all I can say. But that doesn't mean it'll stop me from dancing or singing or drawing. I do all three of them to make myself feel better, and whatever to whatever to do, like, if something makes me feel better, I'll do it. Makes me feel
Yeah,
happy, I'll do it happily. And that's what
that's
everyone should do.
I agree. 100% I agree. Um,
Mhm.
so do you have anything that you want to ask me or do or talk about?
Uh,
Because I think I've pretty much went
well,
through my whole list.
well, there's not much, but one thing, like when you started doing podcasts, were you
Yeah.
also nervous and like, did you have this feeling that people won't like me or maybe I'll not do good?
Yeah, so I will say that you have a much more optimistic, much more um
Mm,
bright and bubbly response to just life in general. I definitely did not have the presence of mind that you have when I started doing stuff that would be performative. By the time I got to podcasting, yeah, I was a little bit more experienced and I was a little bit more open to criticism and open to things like that. So I wasn't so much um, worried about stuff like that because I had already accepted the I'm going to put into the world what I want and the world can accept it or reject it. That has nothing to do with me. Your opinion on my art is not your opinion of me. And also
mhm.
another thing I like to live by, and it's made me a lot happier and a lot less stress or a lot more stress free, is your opinion of me does not matter to me because my
Yes,
opinion
well,
of me is what matters to me. Um, so with that being said, to answer your question, when I started the podcast, I did not care what other people thought. I did what I wanted to do, and that's my advice to you and anybody else that's listening to this. Do what you want to do. Yes, you need to have listeners. You need to have like to be successful. You got to eventually build, but build it and they will come.
mhm.
Like that's the thought process. If you can just have fun yourself, if you can create something you enjoy, you're not as like we're all uniquely us, but we're not as unique as we like to believe. There's like if we believe it, someone else believes it too. If we like it, someone else likes it too. There's a lot of people just like us,
Yes,
and you'll find that audience eventually. Um, so, but
that's
to revert back to like when I first started making music and stuff, yes, I was terrified that people wouldn't like it. People wouldn't like me. That they would judge me. They would laugh at me and make fun of me. And I started making music when I was in grade 9. So like that is true. I did get like there were people that didn't like it. There were people that made fun of me. There were people that did stuff, but it didn't stop me. I kept going. It was just is what it is. Um, so with that being said, like all I have for that is like I said, just keep building whatever you want to build. Um,
mhm,
if like another word of if your book doesn't do well selling, which I'm sure it will, because you seem like you're just if it doesn't do well, it's because not enough people know about you,
correct.
not because you're not good. Because I can tell you right now that you have a future with this stuff, but if it doesn't do well, put another one out. Like, don't stop. That's all I'm gonna say. But also, there is another question from Keith the Chief coming in. He asked,
Sure.
"Do you enjoy traveling?"
Traveling, I do. I really do. Like, although I do get, travel sick sometimes, but I love traveling. I love exploring, and this COVID-19 just interrupted everything. All of my plans spoiled. This year I had to travel a lot, and I was like, okay, I just gave my very important exams, and this is the year to have fun and travel and do everything. But yes, it interrupted. But to answer the question, I do love traveling a lot, and even though sometimes I get sick while traveling due to whatever the conditions and circumstances are. But yes, I love it. I love to explore places. I love to travel. And also, what's good about traveling is I get to meet new people and I get to talk to them. I get to know more about the place where I'm going.
Mhm.
And also the food. I love food.
That's the best part of traveling, in my opinion, is getting
I
to
know,
try new
right?
food.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite places that you've been?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Yeah, what are some of the your favorite places that you've been to?
I actually have not been out of India, but
Okay.
I have been to so many places in India, and the best place was where I was last year. Yes, I visited Manali last year. Manali is in India only, and oh my God, the way I love that place so much. It's like uh, it's so amazing. Like, I live in the capital city, the capital city, Delhi, and like it doesn't snow here. So I went to Manali, and there I was like, it was all snowy, and the weather was cold, and I saw sheep, and I saw mountains, and the beautiful view of the sky. It was breathtaking. Like, I can't even tell you how beautiful it was. I, it was one of those trips where I feel like, no, I don't want to go back home.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I'm with you on that. So we both just kind of found a common ground with food. So, what's some of
Uh-huh.
your favorite like? Let's start with like non-traditional Indian
Uh,
foods, like stuff that's like American food or like anything like that. Do you guys have that there?
we have a great variety of food here. Like, India is really famous for its spices. Like,
Yeah,
I love eating spicy food.
me too.
I can't even tell my mouth starting watering, starting to water. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, um, my favorite food. It's like almost everything what my mom cooks, and we go from Indian traditional food to American food to Chinese and to Italian. Everything is available here, and I love all of them. But if you ask something that I would like go and have at any time, it would definitely be Rajma chawal, Rajma rice. It's something with my mom cooks, and we're all like, Wow, how do you cook so well? Do you have like magic in your hands or something?
You're so like, I want to say kind, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like wholesome and like I feel like you have the like as I said before, like this outlook on the world. Like if anything else, like if you get nothing else from this interview, just like hold on to that. What I'm trying to tell you is just hold on to that outlook and that perspective
Mhm.
you have because you're gonna be so much happier going through life. Um, grasping on the little things, like seeing you light up about the snow and the mountains, was like a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Like you had this glow about you that you didn't, or even just now when you're talking about your mom's cooking, like talking about magic in her hands and stuff, like just grasping that small, um, something that other people would look at as minuscule or just like irrelevant even. You hold on to each detail. You hold on to everything. I love that, and it's gonna not only help you be happier in life and be a kinder human, be a better human, it's going to help you be a better writer. It's gonna help you be a better poet because with writing and poetry and any kind of storytelling at all, it's the details that matter. And because
Thank
we all
you
see
so
the details
much.
in the room. If I'm looking around the room, I see the corners, I see the hinges on the doors, I see the doorknobs, I see the carpet, I see all these things, but I'm not going to vocalize that. But when you're describing the room, you have to be able to vocalize that. And so you telling me stories has been like I felt like I was there. Like I felt like I could imagine what you're telling me. So kudos to you. Congratulations on that. I've had a lot of fun
Thanks a
talking.
lot.
Um, but real quick, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because we're kind of hitting the
Mhm.
block in the road. So go ahead. I'm gonna make you big screen, and then I'm gonna have you go ahead and do shout out your Twitter, Instagram, your podcast, the name of your book, where they can find it, so on and so forth. Okay.
Okay, sure. So, hi guys. I hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Technical difficulties, guys. We'll be right back. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my connection right now.
You're totally fine. Just go ahead and start again from the beginning.
Uh-huh, sure.
Oh, wrong side. There you go.
So, guys, I know I said in the very start that I don't think anyone would find something interesting about me. But if you did and you would like to know more about me, you can go listen to my podcast, Puzzled as I Am. It's available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, and even Anchor, and the link is on my Twitter handle and also on my Instagram handle. My Twitter handle and Instagram handle are the same. It's at the rate Jigyasa Tucker. I will spell it for you. JIGYASATAKKAR. And yes, that's it. And my book would be out the very next month in October, and I'm yet to decide the date, but I would love if you all read and give me a review. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And I will get you once that her book comes out. I will be tweeting it out on all of T13 Media's social media stuff, and we will definitely be promoting that for you as well. So thank you for coming on. It was really it was so fun talking to you. Yeah,
Same. I had so much fun too. You're really kind and fun to speak to. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. All right, I'm going to hit the outro now, guys. Thanks for coming. Bye. All right, guys. Teeing off with Travvy T and the Bad Guy is the fastest rising combat sports show without a corporate backing. I'm PrimeTime Travvy T, and every Tuesday, me and my co-host, the Bad Guy, Kenny Davis, discuss the news and rumors surrounding all of combat sports. You can catch us at T13media.com, and this is your one-stop shop for all things violent.